Welcome to Food as Medicine. This is our second episode, and we're going to be talking about potatoes and onions. And of course, we're looking at local produce that's grown right here in the Hudson Valley. And of course, this reduces our carbon footprint and it helps the local farmers. We have our guest chef here, Sherry Wykcoff, who is the VP of Operations for the Hudson Valley sites of Sun River Health. She's a longtime supporter of farm worker health and safety. She's done a lot of work with promoting safety with safety eyeglass and other things. Maybe she can say a few things as she's introducing the topic of what she's done. But we also have had her as the guest chef to do all of the Warwick community fundraisers, and so she's been that chef that's made delicious foods. So let's talk a little bit about this. This center was donated by the Jacobowitz family in memory of their brother Ronald Jacobowitz. And so we're able to use this at the Alamo Community Center that is part of the Sun River Health program. This program is brought to you by the Foundation of Sun River Health as well as the Warwick Area Farmworkers Organization. We have, let's talk a little bit about what we're making today. Sherry's going to talk about the recipe, but I'd like to say that we're using potatoes. And whenever we use potatoes, it's always good if we can to use the skin. This is where a lot of the fiber and also some of the micronutrients are. In a potato, a lot of times potatoes get a bad rap, nutrition. They say, oh, people say it's just starchy. We don't really need any. But potatoes actually, depending on how they're prepared, have almost a third of the requirements, the RDI, for an adult of vitamin C, of vitamin B6, and potassium. Very rich sources of these very important nutrients. It also holds many of the micronutrients that we need, like magnesium, selenium. And depending on the soil it's grown in, it has a varied amount of those micronutrients. So very important food source. We also have onions, and of course I always say look for the local onions, don't go for Vidalia or anything else. These are wonderful flavor enhancers, and you'll know that they provide almost no calories. And so when we're doing it, while they don't contribute a lot of vitamins and minerals, as you would say the potato does, it offers a great flavor enhancer with no fat. So on that note, let me just ask Sherry, is there anything you remember from your history when you worked with NICAM and the research work? And you did that project here with the eyeglasses. Do you remember anything specific that you?
So it was a collaboration project. So that was really great that we worked with everybody, both the health center, the farm owners, and the farm workers, to really weigh in on everybody's perspective of some of the issues that were impacting the health of the community. So eye safety was the big focus for that project here, and really trying to come up with an idea together to help protect the farmers while they worked. So the safety glasses became an integral part of that project.
And I know that was a CDC funded project.
Correct.
Which ended up going, wasn't it used in many parts of the country?
Yes. So yes, the idea is to spread the information and share it broadly so that others know what the good work that was done and shared.
Great. And just as an aside, Sherry's work resulted in this, the use and the training of safety eyeglass or goggles. And we actually include a set of safety goggles in our safety backpacks that Warwick Area Farmworkers Organization provides to new farm workers that are coming in. So on that note, thank you for your dedication and your work for all these years, Sherry, and also thank you for this delicious recipe that you're bringing.
So today I'm preparing just a very simple dish using the potatoes and onions that Kathy had talked about. The recipe requires 3 sliced potatoes and a half of a medium onion sliced. Salt and pepper to taste, and 1 tablespoon of butter. Potatoes can be washed and scrubbed, leave the skin on, that's fine. If you see something, a little mark on your potato, just, go ahead and feel free to cut it off. The potato should be cut in half, and then you can cut it in half again. And then you can easily just use your knife and slice the potato. A little thinner the better. It will impact the cooking time. So as you can, there's our potato cut. And the reason why I chose this recipe today, it's very simple, but you can use this any time of year where the potatoes and onions get cooked in foil. So you can put the foil in the oven, or you can put them on the grill so that they, if you're cooking outside, you can use it for that. So here's our onion that I'm gonna take the skin off, and I just wanted to let you know about this little trick that I do with the, so noisy, with the onion skin, is that I save my onion skins after I peel my onions, as long as they look nice and clean, and I keep them in my freezer. So when I make soup, I have them readily available to pull out and throw into my broth to add flavor. So this is a great way to just hang on to your onion skins and use them when you are going to cook for something else, make it for something else. It's a great addition to vegetable soup stock, any kind of stock that you're going to use. Okay, so the onion, we're just going to cut this in half, and we're going to, I'm just going to cut it in half again, and we're just going to give it a little slice very similar to the size of the potato. Get this out of my way. Some of these little harder skins sometimes slip, so just chop it up like that. I've already prepared some of the onions that's here. I will just now set this aside. Okay. So again, very simple. I've already cut up the potatoes here, and now I'm just going to go ahead and assemble the dish. Have my piece of foil. And you're going to put the potatoes in, using our 3 potatoes. Kind of spread them out in a easy layer. This helps especially when you're using it on the grill. Add our onions to that. And then we're going to use 1 tablespoon of butter. And I just use my fingers a lot of times to just kind of evenly distribute it. And then salt and pepper to taste. I also like to use, this is pink Himalayan salt. So just a little sprinkle, maybe not even, maybe about a ½ teaspoon. And pepper to taste as well. So I just cover the potatoes with pepper. Simple as that. It's just important that when you go to make the case for the potatoes, that you seal it up really tight so that nothing leaks out. So we roll it up here. Make sure you just roll it up tight, particularly when you're cooking on the grill, because it's nice to be able to, after 10 minutes, flip this, pack it over, and get the potatoes brown on each side. So you have a nice little packet ready to be prepared. Okay. These potatoes get baked in the oven at 350 for 30 to 40 minutes until they're fork tender. If you're going to cook them on the grill, that's a hotter temperature, so about 10 minutes per side that you flip them over after 10 minutes. Fork tender is an important thing. So the potatoes have come out of the oven. Make sure that you are carefully unroll it so the steam is released. So you can see the potatoes here. And we're just going to put them out on the tray. Kept all that flavor inside and putting it to serve. When you cook them on the grill, it is just fine to serve. If you're having a picnic right outside, serve it right in the foil. So here is our finished product, our potatoes and onions wrapped in foil.
So we're here to make the second recipe with potatoes and onions, and this one is a traditional Mexican dish, and it's potato tacos. And the great thing about this is you could use all sorts of toppings. Let me tell you, it's also very simple. Let me tell you a little bit about our ingredients. We are using potatoes. I like to use all-purpose potatoes. We're also using olive oil. We have corn tortillas, and then many of you will know where to get those delicious corn tortillas, not flour. Corn actually has a lot more of the vitamins and minerals than flour tortillas. We are also using oregano, dried oregano, and dried cumin, a little bit of salt. For the toppings, we're using this crema, which is abuelito, and this is a Mexican cream on top. We're also using lettuce. We'll be shredding lettuce, onion, tomato, and jalapeno will be used in a salsa. And again, if you have a favorite salsa recipe, you could use that. Some people will use green salsa. I happen to like red, so we'll be using red salsa, and we'll get to try those. So those are simple ingredients made with just a few minutes. So we first have our potatoes, and again, I use all-purpose potatoes. This recipe will make enough for probably a little over, probably more like 10 tacos. So we're going to start, I've already boiled these, and you just boil them until they're tender. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually mix them in my Ninja blender. We also have fresh garlic, and I'm going to put any refuse in my compost bowl, which is always near me when I'm cooking and baking. And so here we have the Ninja blender. I'm going to be putting my up to 2 russet potatoes and the garlic. We're going to put about a half of a teaspoon of the ground oregano in. We're going to put in a cumin, a little more cumin, about a half a teaspoon of that. With the salt, we're not going to use a lot of salt, but because people can always season them, but I'm going to give this about a quarter of a teaspoon on there. And again, just mix it up. And then what I've seen, and many of my friends, my Mexican friends will make this in different ways. And by the way, I'm also, I'm going to be using the cream, the Mexican cream, but I'm putting a little bit of oil in my pan because we've got to get ready for the tacos. I'm also going to point out that we're using the corn tortillas, and I've wrapped corn tortillas in aluminum foil so that they can be baked for about 10 minutes in about a 300-degree oven, just to get them soft, because you'll see when I start to stuff them, they'll break if they're not baked in the oven. So when you look at a regular corn tortilla, they're just a little bit stiff. They're a little bit stiff, and if I fold them, they break. But if you put them in the oven, they're nice and pliant, and when we're cooking, the Mexican cooking really uses a lot of those things. So let's see, as my oil is heating, I like to use olive oil. We're actually going to put the sour cream, about 3/4 of a cup of the sour cream, and we're going to actually blend this and see just for a few minutes until it's nice and smooth. So we've got our blended mashed potatoes and crema and the spices, and we've also got ready our tortillas that have been baked with aluminum foil just for a few minutes, again, to make them nice and pliable. I've put the potato on one side, and I'm just gently closing it on one half, and what we're going to do is we're going to put it in our frying pan with the oil. Nice hot pan, and we're going to be closing this up. Again, no sealing necessary. We're going to give this just a few minutes on either side. And again, let me just show you how we do this. Just a little bit, again, you might have to use your fingers, but a little bit of potato. And then we can talk about the topping. You give this just a few minutes until it fries. Make sure your pan is not too hot. You don't want to burn them. But what we'll see is we will see a nice light brown effect on these tortillas. I like this recipe because we can really use so many toppings, as I said, and it can be used as a main dish or a side dish. And I'll tell you another thing, I don't know how other people would feel, but I've also put greens in there. I put spinach just to make it look a little different, but also to add some nutrition variety. So I've actually put raw baby leaf spinach in there, just on top of the potatoes, and it actually adds a nice texture, flavor, and of course the nutrition that we get from the spinach. So they're just lightly browning, and I'll show you, this is not quite ready yet. I think if you look at this, I'm looking for a little browner color. So maybe 3 minutes on either side. And as we go, we'll also talk about some of the toppings while they're cooking. Let's talk about the seasons that we have. We have, for the toppings, I mentioned salsa. And we're going to try making salsa. I also have lettuce. Shredding the lettuce is an easy thing to do. We also have, when we have shredding lettuce, we also have the nice flavor and texture of a local food. We're going to just turn that over. We're going to turn this over. We're getting a little bit deeper color. And I think it really smells so good. I think when you look at the corn tortilla, there's definitely a smell. And as you can see from the cooking, nice and brown, nice and brown. And while these are finishing, we're going to actually use one of the other blenders. I'm going to make salsa by chopping up, I'd say about a half of a jalapeno pepper. These jalapeno peppers, removing the seeds will make it a little less spicy. I chop, an onion, fresh tomato. And again, if you prefer a green tomato base, there's a green tomato base that we could use. There's also, other people might use salsa that they have a special ingredient for. So it's really up to you. So as you can see, we have some delicious tortilla tacos ready. We just have the last of the 4 cooking, almost ready. And now it's time to make our toppings. We've shredded some lettuce, just simple shredding lettuce. We've also got in our salsa, I'm making onion, jalapeno pepper, and tomato, fresh tomato. I'm using about a half of an onion, half of a jalapeno, and a full tomato in mine, and just a tiny bit of, about a tablespoon of olive oil. And so what we're going to do is, you don't want this too liquidy, so I've just given it a few chops. And again, a few pulses. And depending on what you like, you can actually, make a variety of toppings. Here we go. I think we're just about ready with our last tortillas. And I'm going to show you how to present this. Some people will find that they have a cilantro on top. That's always good. Some people will put parsley. It really depends on what you like. I have a beautiful Mexican dish called talavera from Pueblo, Mexico, which is where many of the people from Orange County are coming from. Pueblo, Mexico, it's a state. It's some beautiful art and beautiful plates that we would say are nice to have. What we're going to do is we're going to have the salsa, and I'm going to actually put this in a glass bowl on the side. A little bit of this, and I'll just show you how it looks when we have it. We serve them hot. Sometimes people serve them cold. That's interesting. I'm going to put this in here so people can put the salsa on if they like, and also the lettuce, but this is how it might look. With that, people serve that. And then with the cream, we're going to use this cream again, and this is how somebody might have their tacos. A little bit of the Mexican cream with the salsa and a little bit of the lettuce. And you can make it look nice with cilantro, parsley, and also the cilantro that we have, or the salsa that we've made. And I think you have a delicious meal for lunch, dinner, or even a barbecue. People really love this. So I want to thank you for joining us, and for people who'd like more information about Sun River Health Foundation and Sun River Health Services or Warwick Area Farmworker Organization, please visit our website that is on the end of our show. Thank you for joining.